Hare Krishna, everyone. We welcome each one of you to this session being hosted by VIHE. I'm Madhusudan Vishnu Das, and I'll be taking you through this discussion which we are going to have on the topic of upcoming Bhakti-sadacara Course 2021-22. We thank everyone who is with us on Zoom, YouTube Live, and Facebook for watching this video. We request you to, if possible, watch this till the end to get the maximum benefit of the discussion that we're going to have today. I'm very excited to start this and to have conversation with so many wonderful teachers who will be joining us in this discussion. As you know, the Bhakti-sadacara course is going to begin next week. Yes, you heard it right, next week. And we'll have a set of very experienced, mature, and qualified teachers. Some of them are very senior members of the ISKCON society, and some are very young, but yet very dynamic and experienced. So we'll have His Grace Mukundatta Prabhu. He happens to be the head pujari at ISKCON Vrindavan Temple. Then we have Nav Kishore Govinda Prabhu, Rajendra Nandan Prabhu, Pitambar Prabhu, Her Grace Nagapatni Mataji. She's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Her Grace Lavanlata Mataji. And during this discussion, you have any question, you can ask that by putting it in the chat box or in the comment box for us to help you get the answer to that. So we begin today's discussion by inviting first His Grace Navakishore Govinda Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. How are you, Prabhu?
Mercy of Vaishnavas, Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Seeing you after a long time.
Yes, Prabhu. Very, very long time.
Yeah, very long time.
We met in 2016.
Yeah, when you were in VIHE for your Bhakti Shastri studies.
Shastri study. Yeah.
So very happy to be with you once again and to be involved in this course. You'll be teaching the subject, the science of the soul. Am I right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So as you know, and as our students also might be aware, the course is very intense. It goes on for a couple of months, and every day we have classes for almost 2 hours 45 minutes and 6 days a week. So sometimes people become a bit scared. Why do we need such an intensive course, and will they be able to manage till the end? Will it be practical? So could you explain why this concept of having such an intensive course when in the present days, mostly people want to go for crash courses? So why an intense course? You know? And also, please tell us something about your topic and its relevance for the students.
Yes. Thank you, Madhusudan Vishnu Prabhu. It's actually a very important question you have actually asked. So it's very important to have the systematic study of Srila Prabhupada books. And unless it is regulated, it is very difficult to get most of it. So a lot of times, many of the subject matters are not completely understood, or it is just neglected. But when we go, every word by word or every sentence, we understand properly in the mood of the senior devotees in the line of parampara. It actually enables us to get the right mood, to develop the right mood and regulate our day-to-day activities around it. And our consciousness is established in the right sense. Otherwise, there's always chances that we get deflected from the real subject. So it also inspires us, and it also actually encourages. It makes us more inquisitive to learn more, to get involved more, and understand and imbibe Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission.
Okay. So if I understand it correctly, you mean to say by doing intensive course, we are able to imbibe the message better.
Yes.
Because we are always in touch with the subject, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. That was very relevant point mentioned by you. And can you please also tell us something about your subject?
Yes, Prabhuji. So the subject which I will be conducting is the science of the soul. Now, this is the most foundational subject which actually which is actually taught in ISKCON. As soon as we come across ISKCON members, the new members, this is the first thing. And when even I got introduced, so my realization was when someone said that you are not the body, you are the soul. So that's the first step, which actually, is an entrance towards this bhakti moment or Krishna consciousness moment. Yeah. So this, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Science of Self-Realization, that it is actually, this Krishna conscious moment is actually supposed to give the right knowledge about who we are, what is a soul, what is its actually constitutional position, what is its destination. So this is very important to understand. And a lot of times in our society, many of the questions are ignored or sometimes neglected, or we just go through superficially. So this brings often a lot of confusion, and also during our preaching applications as well as the personal application, it's always a challenge. So this science of soul, this particular course has been designed in a pattern where, starting from the basics, that is from the scientific studies, and it gradually progresses. So when I say scientific study, that means where the science has been able to get convinced, or they are trying to elaborate more. So certain topics which is still mysterious for them, like past life experiences, rebirth, reincarnations, and even up to the level of artificial intelligence. And they're trying to give some kind of emotions, expressions, because not everything can be programmed. How it can be natural? So this is the way, it started with one journey in the 1800s, and what is there in today's 2021. We're going to go through each of these things, and also includes neuroscience, and very, very fascinating and interesting subjects, and also a few case studies of people who had past life memories and reincarnation theories. It's amazing. And post that, we're also going to see some things related to other religious scriptures. What is the expression? What do the other religion understand in terms of soul? What is how they propagate, or what is their establishment with respect to the connection of an individual and the Supreme? And finally, we go through the Vedic description, which actually mentions about what the Vedas mention about the science of the soul. So it covers a lot of interesting subjects, like what happens. Say that there's a popular question which says that how many souls are there in a body? So often devotees would answer that there is a Jivatma and there is a Paramatma. But when you deeply study, we'd actually encounter, Srila Prabhupada mentions that every body is an universe. And there are millions of souls. So likewise, if you say that an earthworm is cut into two and it becomes two earthworms, how these things are going on? What is the scientific or this a spiritual explanation or the Vedic explanations about these? And finally, the last session which we have in this is about, after knowing all this different application or the knowledge about the soul, what are we going to do next then? There should be a next step.
Yeah.
So we actually, cover. It's actually around 6 sessions, and we go through each of this in detail and try to understand this subject matter better.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's a very fascinating, actually, description of the course. I am very much interested by the topics you mentioned. NDE, OBE, artificial intelligence, and this is really actually very interesting spiritual subject matter. So I assume the students will also find it very interesting when they go through these subjects in the course. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for being with us. We are very grateful for your wonderful participation, and we look forward towards your teaching in the Bhakti-sadacara course. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhusharan Vishnu Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, as you all must have heard, Navkishore Govinda Prabhu gave a very good answer of why the course is intensive, so that we are always in touch with it for a long period of time. That will bring in transformation. And also he mentioned beautiful points about the course, the science of soul. Now we'll invite our next teacher, His Grace Mukunda Datta Prabhu, to kindly join us for this discussion. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please extend our blessings.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Welcome, Prabhuji, to this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Prabhu is the head puja in ISKCON Vrindavan, as I mentioned, and he'll present the topic of Tatiya Seva, recipients of devotional service, a very essential topic. So please tell us, Prabhu, what are the most important things that a devotee should learn after coming to Krishna consciousness? And, what is the relevance of your topic for them?
Yes. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. So when one is coming to Krishna consciousness, what is most important? That, of course, Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas have explained in their writings, and all based ultimately on the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the incarnation of the age of Kali, who is none different from Sri Radha and Krishna. And so he has established the Yuga Dharma, which is a chanting of the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ultimately the supreme teacher. Of course, we know also Krishna, Vande Gurum Jagat, Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum. So Krishna is Jagat Guru, Krishna is Adi Guru. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna, so he's also Adi Guru. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he has come with the bhava and lust of Srimati Radharani, and it is explained so that he came to taste the moods of Srimati Radharani, the love of Srimati Radharani, and the wonderful qualities of Krishna, of himself. She's experiencing by her love, and then the transcendental bliss she's experiencing. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that is the primary reason why he came, and then he came to give the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names, and also specifically he came and showed us how to actually approach the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave so many instructions to Rupa Goswami in Prayag, Dasaswamedha Ghat, on the bank of the holy rivers, for 10 days, and then in Varanasi he spoke for 2 months to Sanatana Goswami, and explaining about these transcendental subject matters, which he wanted the Goswamis, especially Rupa and Sanatana, and later also Raghunath Das Goswami, whom he instructed in Jagannath Puri. So he wanted them to write transcendental literatures for the conditioned souls, for us practically. And so he gave all these instructions, and they wrote them down in their books and for our benefit, and we are studying them. For example, Rupa Goswami is in the Bhakti-sadacara course, the Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only wrote 8 verses known as Shikshashtakam. And basically also in these 8 verses, everything is included. The whole philosophy of Mahaprabhu is included. If we go deeply into these verses, which the previous acharyas also have revealed in their writings, for example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has explained about these verses, and others also, of course. And one verse which we consider very important, which Mahaprabhu himself told his followers, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnu Namani Namananena Kirtaniya Sadahari, that one should think oneself lower than the straw in the street, and one should be more tolerant than the tree, and not expect any honor, but give all honors to others. And then in this way, in this frame of mind, in this consciousness, one can always chant the holy names. So if one is coming to Krishna consciousness, so actually he has to try to adopt these principles of Mahaprabhu, especially from this verse, and then it will be easy to make advancement in spiritual life. In the beginning, one does not know much. One is coming to Krishna consciousness, one has to learn from the teachers, especially from teachers who are advanced in Krishna consciousness. And of course, then one reads books also, and one is performing devotional service. And but because in the beginning, practically one does not know anything or very little, then naturally one is humble. Natural humility is there. But that humility is not ripe. It is kacha. It is unripe. So, but it has to be there also. Never mind, it is unripe, but the humility has to be there, and we have to be respectful and tolerant and humble always. And but we have to take that to heart and never leave it. Sometimes it happens amongst the devotees also, we see they get a little knowledge, and then the humility is becoming less, and then pride is coming, and one thinks, I am a great devotee, I am a big book distributor, I am this and that, I am president, I am this and that. And that will be a stumbling block. So if one is coming to Krishna consciousness, one should learn this verse, the Nadapi Sunicha. And of course, we should learn the 8th verse, but especially this one. And learning doesn't just mean to learn it by heart, or by mind, or by the brain. And of course, even saying by heart many times, we learn it by heart, but it is not really by heart. We just learned it. It is there in the consciousness, but we are not living according to it. But learning by heart actually means it is by heart that you accept it. in Upadeshamrita, in the 8th verse, which is the most important one, Tannama Rupa Charitade Sukirtana Smritana, Kramena Rasana Marasini Yoja, and so on. Of course, all the verses are important, but specifically for the sadhaka, who is then engaged in devotional service, who wants to become perfect, and this is the very, very important verse. And there in the purple Prabhupada is explaining about Shravanam, Shravan Dasha. We have to hear. And of course, different kinds of hearing is there. One is just hearing, is coming through one ear and going out through the other one. That is not very beneficial. But still, some benefit will be there. If you simply hear, even if you're sleeping during the class, some benefit will be there because it is Divya, this transcendental vibration, it is divine. And then it will actually touch the soul. Even one may be sleeping during the class, but the sound vibration is there and it will have some effect. But the proper hearing is when we are hearing attentively, not sleeping in the class. And then, so we hear attentively and actually should go to the heart. It should stay in the heart. And therefore the next stage actually from Shravan Dasha comes Varan Dasha. Accepting what we have heard, we should accept. And accepting means it should stay in our heart, in our consciousness. And then we have to act accordingly. So it is in our heart, yes, have to be humble, then we should be humble and tolerant and respectful. And so that is very important when we come to Krishna consciousness. And then we will be able to receive this knowledge and absorb it, and then we can apply in our life, and then we can advance. So that is actually, well, by Krishna's arrangement, this is the first verse I saw. I was born in Switzerland, and I was looking for the absolute truth. And I was searching, reading many books about from different philosophers. And I even had some copy of Bhagavad Gita, not from ISKCON. And I was reading, and I mean, it wasn't really clear what's going on here. And but then I came in contact with the devotees. They gave me a pamphlet they were distributing. They were doing some kirtan, distributing halwa, which I really liked, and this pamphlet with some information. On the back of the pamphlet, and the address was also there, on the back of the pamphlet, this verse was there, Trinada Pisunichena. And so I read it and I really appreciated that verse. Oh, this is a nice verse. And then somehow I lost the pamphlet, but then I remembered and I felt I have to spend some more time with these people. Some substance is there, and maybe I come closer to the search of the absolute truth. And then somehow I knew in which part of the city it was, and so I was going towards that part, and then I was praying. So if this has really some truth in it, these devotees, what they are saying, what it is, then I will surely be able to meet them. And so I was going in that direction. And many times the devotees, when they were going out to distribute books, they were doing in kami cloth. But only when they're doing Sankirtan, then they had the devotional cloth. But there's something here in the back of the head, a sikar, which is visible. And even sometimes you're keeping the tilak also. Or even if you put everyday tilak and then you go out and take it out, still some mark is there. And then they have the neck beads. Some chinna is there of the characteristic of a devotee. The external symptoms are there. And then they recognize, oh, that is a devotee, and I approached him and he showed me the place. And then I spoke with the devotees, and then I felt I have to spend more time with them, and I came to Krishna consciousness in this way in Switzerland. But since I was maybe 15, 16, I wanted to go to India. I was fascinated. And when I was 20, I got some money from my parents for my birthday. And then with that money, I went to India. And then I joined in Vrindavan Dham, Krishna Balaram Temple. And then I was so eager to know about the absolute truth. I was reading many hours a day. And at the same time, serving also, cleaning the temple. There was the main service, and I had the opportunity somehow by Krishna's arrangement to clean the deities' plates. And then quickly I learned the songs, and then I learned the Shikshashtakam also. And and actually since I joined, I'm reciting, of course, and we suggest also to do that, to chant these verses every day. But this first verse I saw, that is practically one of the most important verses, and that stayed with me. And I think because of that, I got the opportunity to get a wonderful seva and to stay in that seva for many years. And so therefore I feel it is very much important for all the students to try to imbibe that verse. Coming to Krishna consciousness, if you learn that verse, you take it to heart, and then you apply in your life, then you will be able to advance nicely in Krishna consciousness. Just one verse, I mean, that is the essence almost, but it is good to get some more knowledge also. Therefore, the Bhakti-sadacara Course is there, Bhakti Shastri, because it is important to learn as much as possible. And that will help us to be able to remain tolerant, humble, and respectful. And because if you're not studying these teachings of the Acharyas and the life of the Acharyas or the associates of the Lord, and they are described in the scriptures, then it will be difficult to remain humble, because the difficulties are there in life, so many difficulties. And but when we hear about the great devotees like Haridas Thakur, for example, or the Pandavas, and how they had to undergo so many difficulties, then that will help us to remain humble and tolerant, despite all difficulties. Otherwise, we just, it's too much for me, I just leave it, I can't take it. If we don't have the knowledge and the examples of the great devotees, so therefore it is important to hear the scriptures from the advanced devotees, the realized devotees, and that will give us the strength to overcome all difficulties. But it is a kind of, this verse, Tinadapi Sunichena, it is a great help, but then we still have to hear also. Even, of course, we say the Maha Mantra is sufficient, just chanting the holy names, just chant and be happy. And everything comes from the Maha Mantra. You can realize Krishna Sarup and your Sarup, your relationship, everything. At the same time, if you don't hear about Krishna, if you don't serve Krishna, and then it will be a little difficult or not so easy, actually very difficult to realize Krishna while chanting the holy names, Krishna Nam, and chant Shuddha Nam. So therefore it is recommended, and we have to practice some austerity also, Vairagya. And Mahaprabhu, he came to teach Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Sikshatame Kapursa Purana Se Krishna Chaitanya Sharirari Kripamburi Ariastaham Prapadye. We take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he came to teach, to give Vairagya, to show how to be renounced from this material world. I mean, he's a Supreme Lord, and he's perfect, and as a Supreme Lord, he has Sada Aishwarya Purna Bhagavan. He's endowed with all, it's the source of everything, so naturally he's endowed with all wonderful qualities. So he's most beautiful, he's most knowledgeable, and he's most renounced, he's most strong, like Krishna also. So, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he went to school just to set the example that we have to go to school. Although he's the Supreme Lord, he knows everything, but still, to set the example, he goes to school. And then he becomes a great scholar, Nimai Pandit, and then he becomes he becomes a teacher himself, and to help others. And then he enters the sannyas ashram. Although he was in the household ashram, and he had a beautiful and devoted wife, and his mother was there. But then just for the benefit of the fallen conditioned souls, he entered in the sannyas ashram. Of course, also it is mentioned to search, and just to show us that we have to search for the absolute truth, and ultimately for Krishna. And so,
Yes,
so he was
Prabhuji.
crying out to Krishna, 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 and just to show how we should cry out to Krishna to come closer to him. And and then he gave Krishna consciousness to all. Yaridekataka, Krishna Padesh. Whoever you meet, you speak about Krishna. You give Krishna Padesh, as in the Bhagavad Gita. So he was then, so as the Supreme Lord, so as the perfect devotee, he's the original teacher. And so he's giving this knowledge, and through his disciples also, for our benefit. And so because we need this knowledge, so Vairagya Vidya, we have to become detached from this world, and we have to cultivate transcendental knowledge. And actually by this transcendental knowledge, when we have the knowledge, when we have a higher taste, and Nam Ruchi, when we are tasting for chanting the holy names, and Seva Ruchi, for serving the Lord, then we can give up the lower taste of this material world. Otherwise, it is not possible.
Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry to interrupt you, Prabhuji.
My time is up.
Yeah, we have some more teachers in the line.
Okay, so just 2 minutes, because I'm supposed to speak about my
subject.
My topic, I guess.
Yes,
so this knowledge is important, and so that we can advance nicely. So I'm asked to speak about Tadiya Seva, and actually I also suggested to give the name also Nitya Seva and Tadiya Seva, because Tadiya actually means that which is also related to Krishna. And so Tadiyanam, so the famous verse is there that service to Krishna is fine, but serving to that which is related to Krishna, like the devotees, that is even more important. And first we serve Guru, and we serve the Vaishnavas, and then but at the same time we have to understand that what is most important, and that is the Nitya Seva, and the main limbs of devotional service, and Nam Kirtan, and of course Pritipurvak Murti Seva, Bhagavad Shravan, and so associating with the devotees and living in the holy dham. So that is most important, and so that is actually Bhakti, Mahatapurna Ang, the most important limbs of devotional service. And so I will speak on this topic of the aspects of Swadhyay. So that means studying the scriptures, sadhana, sadacha, proper behavior, having a good sadhana. And but that is usually divided in two, and one is Nitya Seva and Tadiya Seva. For example, I have 8 classes. So the first is about Nam Seva. And so Nam Seva is Mukhya Ang, so it's Nitya Seva that we have to do every day. And that is actually the most important Seva, is Nam Seva. But the others are there and they're helping so that we can properly chant the holy name. So we'll speak about Nam Seva. And then the second topic will be the offenses towards the holy names, which is important because Nam Seva is in 3 stages. Aparadha Nam, when one is chanting, but one is not sufficiently purified in existence. And if one is conditioned, then there's every chance that one will commit some offense. So, but therefore we have to know about these 10 offenses. We have to avoid the 10 offenses. And then when we practice every day trying to chant nicely, then we come to the clearing stage, Abhas Nam. And so also equipped with knowledge, with transcendental knowledge. And then by chanting Namabhas, then eventually we can come to the platform of Shuddhanam, pure chanting of the holy names. At that point, then Krishna Sarup will be revealed, and his wonderful pastimes also will be revealed to the devotee who is on that stage, and one's own Sarup will be revealed. The third part of that course is Tulsi Seva, Tulasi Seva. And so that may be seen as Tadiya Seva, because Tulasi is Krishna Priya, Damodar Priya, she is very dear to Krishna. And so we need her mercy, Vrinda Devi or Tulsi Devi Seva. Tulsi Devi's mercy is required to be able to come in contact with Krishna, so that Krishna will also accept our Seva. Like, for example, when we are offering Bhoga to Krishna, we always put Tulsi leaf. And it is also said, Krishna doesn't accept if there's no Tulsi there. Of course, most important is the love. And actually, even in Golok, it's not that they're picking the Tulsi leaves and putting on the Bhoga and then Krishna will take. No. But as sadhaka, and in the worship of the Lord also, we always have to put Tulsi leaves. So that is required in offering to the Lord. And in the beginning, when we serve the deities, so some awe and reverence has to be there. Some Maryada is there, following rules and regulations. And the next topic will be, the fourth is Shastra Seva. That is the scriptures. We have to study the scriptures. We have to hear from the advanced devotees. And that is considered Shastra Seva, simply the hearing also the scriptures or reading the scriptures. So we speak about that. And the fifth will be serving and honoring prasadam. Well, from one point of view, it is easy to take prasadam. Honoring prasadam. If somebody is coming, you want some sweet? Yes, sure. When he's ready to take some sweets. So usually devotees, they like delicious prasadam, especially sweets. And but there's a whole, well, you may even say almost a science of how to honor prasad and how to serve prasad. And so with the proper consciousness. So we will explain about that. That is an important aspect also, not just honoring prasad, but how to honor prasad. And that we'll explain. And the sixth will be Vaishnav Seva. Serving the Vaishnavas, very, very important also. So not only we serve Guru and Krishna, but we have to serve the Vaishnavas. As the Acharyas have explained, Nam, Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva, Jivadoya. So we have to have a taste for chanting the holy names, and then we should do Vaishnav Seva and Jivadoya, being merciful towards the conditioned souls. And that is, we have gotten the holy names, we should give to others the holy name. We are getting the association of the devotees, we should give association to others. And we're getting prasad, we should give prasad to others. We have gotten these transcendental literatures, we should give these literatures to others. That is Jivadoya, very important. Vaishnav, so the Vaishnav is Sarva Bhute Hiterata. He's always thinking about the welfare of others. He's not thinking about only his own pleasure or his own seva, his own prasadam, his own place to stay. No, he's very concerned about others. Actually, true Vaishnava doesn't think much about himself, but he's so much concerned that sometimes he's neglecting even his own taking prasadam or whatever his needs are, so that he can serve others nicely. And then the seventh topic is Atiti Seva. Atiti. So as we know, there's a solar calendar, there's a lunar calendar. In this material world, we follow the solar calendar now in the month of December, and today is Tuesday. So solar calendar is there, but then there's lunar calendar. Different names of the month are there according to the moon also. And then the Titi, so there are 30 Titis, 15 in the light, in the bright fortnight, and 15 in the dark fortnight of the moon. And so, for example, we know Ekadashi Titi, the 11th day of the bright and light and the dark fortnight, and Punima Titi. So Atiti, one is coming uninvited. So that is known as Atiti. one person who is coming, an uninvited guest, Atiti Seva. So if one is invited, it's easier to serve, but if somebody is just suddenly appearing in our house, then, oh, we have come, okay, but then we should be ready to serve and honor nicely Atiti Seva. So that is one topic also. And then the last, so that is Dham Seva, a service to the Holy Dham. So there's a primary angas of devotional service, names of devotional service, and tadiya that will be more than of course, it is all interrelated and connected to each other, but some distinction is made, and so we will try to explain a few words about that.
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your very enthusiastic description about the subject you're going to teach, and also the importance of chanting and learning, actually truly learning the Trinata Visuddhishana verse, and the importance of hearing from the advanced Vaishnavas. I myself also learned basics of deity worship from you when we studied Bhakti-sadacara Course. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you, Prabhuji, for being with us. Hare Krishna. So we are grateful to His Grace Mukunda Datta Prabhu for taking out time for all of us. Now, without any further ado, we'd like to invite His Grace Rajendra Nandan Prabhu. Rajendra Nandan Prabhu, welcome to this discussion.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hope you are well. So, yes. Prabhu, you will be teaching about self-healing. Very interesting subject. So, why do you think this subject is important for devotees?
Yes, Prabhuji. Let me first just offer my prayers. Krishna Prashaya Bhudre Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurmani Pracharane Nishishunivadi Paschate Satare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Very much. Thank you.
Okay. So, yes, thank you for asking such a very important and good question, Prabhuji. So, yes, this question might come that, okay, now if we are studying this course called Bhakti-sadacara, which is a Bhakti course. So, why are we studying Ayurveda in this? So, Ayurvedic self-healing. So, generally, if we don't take good care of our health, poor health can very often become a major impediment towards performing devotional service. So, for example, I have seen, I know one pujari who has got serious digestion problems. So he has to go to the bathroom maybe 8 to 9 times in a day. So which means he has to take bath those many times in order to maintain the proper standards of deity worship seva. Similarly, now I know one book distributor who developed an arthritis problem, and then he could not go about distributing books after that. So when we develop such kind of chronic problems, then it becomes a serious impediment. And very often devotees just resign themselves thinking that, oh, maybe this is my past karma and I'm suffering because of what I did in my previous birth. And then they just resign to their fate. But actually, what we don't realize is that it is just that we have been unknowingly making some mistakes in our daily routines and daily diet and certain habits, which have actually led to these problems. So now the title itself says Ayurvedic self-healing. It says self-healing. So now self-healing means here is that Krishna has actually given us a body which is capable of healing itself. Now this sounds very, it sounds very nice, and we feel, oh, how merciful the Lord is. But then again, we wonder if this is the case, then why is it that we are suffering from chronic diseases for so many decades sometimes, and they don't go away at all. So the reason because of is that we are unknowingly making some mistakes in our daily routines and diet, which are preventing the body from healing itself. It is like, suppose a sweeper is trying to clean up the house, the floor, and then we keep putting dirt again and again. So then it defeats the purpose. So that is what we are unknowingly doing to our bodies. So unknowingly we are damaging our bodies without realizing what we are doing. So in this self-healing course, we will be just focusing on the basics of what routines to follow, what to eat and when to eat. Of course, as devotees, we always eat prasadam, but then what type of prasadam to eat at what time of the day, and certain mistakes to be avoided. So if we just focus on some of these basics, then we could prevent many of these problems from happening, or at least reduce the chances significantly. So like I'll just give a simple example. Let's say if we drink water immediately after prasadam, or let's say if we stand up and drink water. Now, these are two common mistakes which significantly increase our risk of developing arthritis later on in life, knee pain. So, but at the same time, after prasadam, if we drink hot water instead of room temperature water, then that hot water acts like amrit. So the same water when taken in room temperature after food acts like poison, but the same water when taken hot acts like nectar. So these simple things could make a big difference. Or another common mistake I will tell you is that, let's say devotees go out enthusiastically on Sankirtan in the hot sun. Let's say it's very hot, and then they are enthusiastically doing Sankirtan and book distribution. And then they come inside the temple and they are so thirsty. Immediately they will drink water and switch on the fan. Now, this is again a big mistake, which over a period of time later on, can even lead to heart attack. I know one Mataji who passed away in Vrindavan. Like she had a chest pain and then she felt thirsty. Her husband gave her water. She drank the water and she immediately passed away. So because of a heart attack. So now, how does drinking water at this particular time, what does it have to do with heart attack? So these are some of the things which we will be covering in this course. Like so then what is the right way of drinking water? When we are coming out from the Sankirtan and then we just enter the temple, what is the right method of drinking water, for example? Or let's say during Janmashtami, we have fasted for the whole day. Devotees have been fasting for the whole day, and in the night they are jumping and dancing. So in the midnight, let's say they have to drink some water or take some panakam for breaking the fast. What is the right way to do that? Because mistakes in these areas can lead to some serious consequences later on. So some of these things we will be discussing in this course.
Okay, very interesting and very relevant actually.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically in the modern times when our lifestyle is not so much oriented towards goodness, this course is very, very useful, I believe.
Yes, Prabhuji. So we will be, thank you, Prabhuji. So we will primarily be covering based on the Ashtanga Hridayam. This is the scripture that was written by Bhagavat Rishi specifically for people of Kali Yuga. Because he saw that in Kali Yuga, people would be making mistakes even with the basic things. So he was merciful, and then he wrote the essence. He took all the essence of all the Ayurvedic scriptures and put it in this one scripture. So that people of Kali Yuga will find it very easy to understand. And our focus will be primarily on this. We will not be looking at any advanced topics at all. So, I mean, our goal is not to become experts in health. We just want to take care of our health so that we can practice devotional service nicely. So we want to come to the mode of goodness, as you said, and use Ayurveda also as a tool for helping us in advancing in devotional service. So many of the things which Ayurveda recommends are similar to what we are taught in devotional service. Like even Ayurveda recommends that we should go to bed early and wake up early, which is what we are taught as devotees. And even Ayurveda talks about the virtues of fasting. Like fasting is a wonderful medicine according to Ayurveda. And then we do Ekadashi fasting as part of the as part of our Vaishnava routines. So many of the things are very much in parallel. And even we'll also discuss about the importance of regulative principles from an Ayurvedic perspective. And then we also talk about Vaishnava qualities, developing good qualities like focus or determination or compassion. And then we also talk about avoiding some negative qualities like envy or anger or offensive attitude. So even these things are related to some imbalance in the doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in Ayurveda. So we will be discussing those things also. So we'll cover those three basic doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and all the diseases are mostly mapped to either one of these doshas. So we will cover that, and also these qualities, negative as well as positive qualities. And then we will talk about the daily routine. That is, what is the right time to get up, and after getting up, what do we do? Like let's say brushing the teeth, gargling the mouth, and washing all the senses, and then taking bath, and the correct routine, and then the science behind it also. So this is another thing that we will be discussing. So it will be only on the basics and primarily focused on using Ayurveda for advancing in devotional service and also for just maintaining our health. So that will be the primary focus.
Thank you so much. Very interesting subject, Prabhu. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you. We'd like to move on to our next teacher now. Our Grace Lamangala Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Welcome.
Hare Krishna. Nice to see you, and thank you for inviting me today.
We are happy to have you with us. I'm a little sorry for the delay. We're supposed to take you a little before. Still, no problem. We have very interesting subjects that we'll be taking in this course, and we'd like to know from you what are those subjects, why they're important, like Vaishnava festivals and the meanings of prayers, principles of freedom.
Yes, so the list that you've given me puts the Vaishnava festivals first, so we'll look at that first. Vaishnava festivals is very important. Krishna actually speaks about it in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he says by observing the Vaishnava festivals and by worshipping him, we can remove pride. He also says it's therefore self-purification. And of course, that's not the only reason. In Nectar of Devotion, there's a quote from VIHE Puran, where one devotee asked Krishna, please tell me when you appeared and we shall observe a great festival for your pleasure. So we're also going to do it to please Krishna. And then coming back to the purpose of ISKCON, these festivals that we're observing within ISKCON are our main times to get together for large sadhu sangha amongst the devotees, and also to invite new people to Krishna consciousness and teach them about Krishna, teach them about the devotees. One of the purposes of ISKCON, the third purpose of ISKCON, is to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, and thus develop the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead Krishna. So this is also fulfilled by our meeting together and celebrating the acharyas and the appearances of the Lord. So it's a great preaching program. And also by hearing about the Lord and by hearing about the devotees, we will also imbibe the qualities that we're learning about. And so we learn by their association. This is described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Bhakti Aloka. He says, Sato Vritihi means we follow in the footsteps of the devotees by hearing about their qualities and behavior and by following them. Okay, so next subject coming up is our daily prayers. So Prabhupada gave us our daily program, which is, we can understand that Prabhupada gave us our daily program as our basis for our daily sadhana. So what he's given us is very, very important. So we need to understand deeply what he has given us, why he has given us, and we need to meditate deeply on the meaning of it. So some of these songs are very significant, also in the order that he's placed them in the day, because we start our day by Gurvastakam, by worshipping the Guru, which is our most important sadhana, is to worship the Guru and set ourselves in the mood of being servant of the Guru. Another thing that's placed extremely nicely is our Tulsi prayers just before we start our japa in the morning, to fix our consciousness on the goal of our chanting. So things like this we'll be meditating on, as well as the meanings and some background philosophy, because when you study these daily prayers, you will understand that Prabhupada has given us a concise, like in a nutshell, philosophy of Krishna consciousness just by going through our daily prayers. We get the tattva of the Guru, we get the tattva of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva, we get Krishna's tattva, and we get some important basis for our philosophy, is like in a nutshell. like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a nutshell gave us 6 Shastakams. So in a nutshell, Prabhupada has given us our daily program, and we can meditate deeply about that. So the third topic that I'm teaching is the regulative principles of freedom. So we can learn why they are called regulative principles of freedom when they seem to be constricting us. Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada promised us that by following these regulative principles, by chanting our rounds nicely without offenses, we will go back to Godhead, we will get Krishna Prem. He says different things in different places. I've got one of his quotes on our slideshow. So these regulative principles are very important. Although in themselves, they're not actually transcendental, they are the prescribed austerities for this age of Kali. And they're specifically given in the Srimad Bhagavatam for this age of Kali. And by following these principles in this age, this is our way of becoming purified and getting to the spiritual level. So we'll be looking, we'll be focusing on the spirituality reasons, spiritual reasons why these are dangerous, and spiritual reasons why we should follow. We also correspond to the legs of religion, so we'll be studying them a little bit. And we'll also be looking at a little bit from the Ayurvedic perspective. And from Ayurveda, we also get into understanding the modes of nature, because that's very important to why these are dangerous for us. And a little bit, we won't go too much into the material reasons, because that's readily available on the internet, and that's not the focus of our study. We'll be concentrating on why these, following these regulative principles of freedom, and will help us in our devotional service. Now, the fourth subject that I'm teaching is Kali Yuga Dharma, which is given to me for, I think it actually comes up first this time. So I've spent a lot of time trying to think about if I can improve it or not. But what I'm teaching is some basics that have been given, that are accepted by the devotees, and the devotees who are specialized in teaching about the holy name, and are foundational for our understanding of the chanting of the holy name. Because it's called Kali Yuga Dharma, we're going to begin by looking at the Dharma in the 4 yugas. We're going to look at also what the relevance of these different Dharmas are to Kali Yuga now, because they have some relevance, but they're not actually going to be freeing us. But we'll look at that. We'll look at specific qualities of Kali Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan, from Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, particularly around stories with Haridas Thakur, because he's our Namacharya. And then we'll look at Harinam Chintamani, which is by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It's also the basis for Sachinandan Swami's teachings on the holy name and his Nectar of the Holy Name book. The first 3 chapters explain Krishna Tattva, the Tattva of the name, and the devotees, who is qualified for chanting the holy name, and what the devotees are. And then chapters 4 to 13 are the 10 offenses to the holy name, which are discussed very nicely in detail, including how to avoid them and how to remedy them if we commit them. So this is all very important. We will study Sri Shikshastakam, because that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings on the holy name, and in a nutshell. And we'll also look, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has said that the 3rd verse of Sri Shikshastakam, Chanadapi Suni Chaina Toro Rivasi Hishnina Manina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahi Hari, is the prescribed method for avoiding all of our 10 offenses. So we'll look at a paper that was written by Srimati Mataji, who's here in Vrindavan, about how this verse of Sri Shikshastakam will help us to avoid all the 10 offenses in chanting, and Rupa Goswami's Namastakam. And according to the interest of the devotees who are studying, we may modify that last day to suit any needs of any particular devotees. So I'm hoping that all sounds interesting to all of you, and thank you for listening.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for short and comprehensive description of all the courses. Very interesting indeed. We are grateful to have you with us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So dear participants, viewers, we have more teachers with us in this course. Due to some reasons, they could not be with us on the discussion panel today. Let me mention them and what subjects they'll be taking quickly. Pitambar Prabhu, he'll be teaching about the 7 purposes of ISKCON, the Founder Acharya course, and then we have our guest Nagapatni Mataji, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. She'll be teaching a very, very interesting subject, Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Wonderful lessons from Srila Prabhupada's lives, to be so much inspired by the sacrifice he did for all the people of the world, the way he struggled to take the message of Krishna consciousness to the West, and the way the society ISKCON was founded, and it grew into thousands of followers. And also about Varnashrama, the principles of Varnashrama, to apply these teachings practically in our life. And lastly, I will also be a part of the teachers team. I'll be taking few subjects like reading reform. In that subject, we try to understand the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. And we also learn many reading strategies of how we can make the best out of our reading, to make it interesting, to be able to make good kind of notes for proper use in the future, for personal application as well as preaching application, and many more interesting exercises we do in that course. Then we have Vaishnava Acharyas, lives of Vaishnava Acharyas. The Parampara, Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, is full of great personalities who have been living their lives as perfect examples of the practitioners of Krishna consciousness. So we learn about them. We learn almost about 30 to 35 Vaishnava Acharyas. And then finally, I'll be teaching Gita Overview course, Bhagavad Gita Overview course, where we learn about all the different chapters of Bhagavad Gita, their links, the way chapters connect from one chapter to another. Within the chapter, how the discussion between Krishna and Arjuna flows. It's a very, very scientific and very systematic conversation that happens between Krishna and Arjuna. Very deep and very insightful, and also very relevant to implement in our life. So with this, we end the discussion today. Thank you so much for being with us. If you have any further queries about the course, there is a contact detail mentioned in the comment box. Please do contact there. If you haven't registered for the course, do register. And if you have registered, then we are eagerly waiting for you to participate in this course and be benefited. We thank you everyone very much, all the teachers who joined and all the viewers. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.